Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm going to be doing some brakes on this 2005 GMC Yukon XL. It's got a 5.3 two-wheel drive, so I mean all the brakes on these things are the same. It's when you change the rotor, you don't have to have a wheel bearing replaced or anything like that. I already did the other side. There are a couple specialty tools you're going to need. If you don't have them, go out and get them. First thing is one of these Torx bits. This is a T55. That's going to take the caliper bolts off. The other size is, I believe, is a 19 millimeter or 3/4. That takes off your bracket. And if, like I said, if you guys don't have a set of these are from Duralast. Go out and get some. I'm pretty sure they're a lifetime warranty, so nothing crazy. I'll show you guys the part number real quick. This is the part number I'm using. These are the front brakes, just standard OEM replacement, nothing crazy. And this is the rotor. I'm going to be doing an oil change and another few things on this thing, but just going to be showing you guys a video on these brakes. These things are super dusty, as you can see. You can see the new rotor in there. I replaced the back set maybe 8 or 10 months ago. This is my mom's vehicle, her daily driver. Can't have mom out there with no brakes, right? So once I get this thing torn apart, I'll show you guys everything going back on. It's pretty easy. And I did want to come on here and say, guys, if you guys are DIYers, get yourself a decent impact wrench. I know a lot of you guys love the Milwaukee, the DeWalt stuff. I've had this rigid for probably, I'm gonna say 6 years. Never had an issue. Super fast. So, like I said, if you guys are DIYers, go out and get you guys an impact wrench. It will save you so much time, so much effort. You don't have to break everything loose when it's down on the ground and then jack it up. You just do it all while it's in the air. Super easy. Alright guys, I got the wheel off. On the opposite side, on the driver's side, these rotors and these steel wheels were kind of stuck together with the corrosion and rust. So I did have to do a little mule kick on the other side to get that one off. This one came off no problem. Now this T55 is going to fit right in here. That's going to get your caliper off, both top and bottom. And I know some of you guys might just have a simple set like this. Go out and get you an extended 3/8 with a flex head on it. Gets you a little bit more leverage. It's a little bit easier to kind of flex the head on it toward you and crank down. Also, once you get them broken loose, man, one of these Milwaukee, this is not the fuel, my bad. This is just the regular 3/8 ratchet with a 3.0 battery. Super easy, guys. Alright, so I've got the T55 bolts broken loose. I think the next step, if you don't have a really big C-clamp or anything to compress those pistons, or a piston clamp or something to compress them, I've got one of these pry bars. Just stick it in here, pry against it just lightly, and it'll start compressing those. It'll make your job easier when you have to use one of these regular clamps like I've got here. It's just a wood clamp, but it does the job. But like I said, if you don't have one of those big C-clamps or one of the tools to do it, it makes it a lot easier when you go ahead and start getting them down toward the bottom. So you just have to finish them off with that clamp. I'm gonna set up this here so maybe you guys can see. Sorry, I was sitting on my ratchet there. So those are out. Lay them right here on my cardboard. Yeah, you guys can get a hook or something to set that somewhere. I'm just gonna set it up on top of there. Now the next thing is gonna be this, like I said, 19 millimeter. So here's that flex head, like I was saying, guys. Well, it sounds like some of those teeth in there are acting up. I guess we're not going to use that bad boy. Sounds like some of those teeth are slipping. So on to the little guy. Well, maybe I'm going to have to need a pry bar. Take the handle off my jack there. That's it. Same thing. They're loose. Swap over to the Milwaukee ratchet. Take your pads out. They weren't super bad, but you could hear them squeaking and squealing going down the road when you're braking. I'm pretty sure the bad side was the driver's side, but always replace them in pairs. Don't be that guy that replaces one side at a time. So that's that. Take these off, probably brush them down a little bit. Rotor comes right off. Now after this, once I get everything taken off like it is now, I like to just spray everything down with some brake parts cleaner. Spray your hub. That one actually doesn't sound too great, so that might be a part to change here soon. The other side was fine. Again, like I was saying, spray it down, just kind of get most of the gunk off. And I like to put a little bit of NICs right in here just to help the rotor from sticking there. We're actually down here in Georgia, so we don't have a lot of rust. The people who owned this before my parents used to take a camper up toward, I believe they said Virginia. So not a whole bunch of snow, but they got some, and I'm sure there was some salt. So they've had this truck for probably 3 or 4 years now and hasn't given them any issues. So I guess we'll get this all knocked out, make sure I let them know about that hub going bad, and I'll probably do a video on that too, which these are easy, just 3 bolts. The Fords and some of the other manufacturers that are 2-wheel drive, your rotor has bearings inside of it, so it's a pain to get them on and off. especially if you're just going in there to do brakes. If you're just going in there to do rotors, it is a pain. These GMCs, the Chevrolets, the GM products, they're a lot easier because the hub is a separate entity from the rotor. I'll be back with you guys once I get everything cleaned up, get the parts over here off my table and get them kind of set up so you guys can see them going back on. All right guys, we're back. I've got my rotor here. I just sprayed some parts cleaner on there, brake parts cleaner. Just spray it down, get most of the gunk off. I'm not going to take a wire brush to it, especially since I have to change that wheel hub assembly there. But I'm going to see what that looks like here going back on. Hopefully you can see that. I do like to leave the plastic on these when I'm doing them. I'll typically get a rag, spray the rag with parts cleaner, get that light oil film off of there, put my rotor on, get most of everything back on the bracket, and then clean the front, then put my pads and caliper back on. Also guys, like I was showing you, just with the little bit of pressure I put on these, they're almost all the way back in. So it should be easy to just take that clamp with an old brake pad, put it on there and compress it. And I'll show you guys how I do that in a second. Hopefully you guys can see that. Don't worry about the jack point. That's just how I've always done it. I jack them up from the lower control arm. A lot of you guys might say that's wrong, or you know, it has jack points. If you lift from the pinch weld, I've seen these things buckle unless you have one of those pinch weld jack attachments. I'm just using a Daytona 3-ton, nothing crazy. Get those on sale at Harbor Freight all the time. And I did forget. Well, I'm actually going to be taking this off. I'm not going to put any NBCs on that. I'm going to be replacing that soon. The hardware isn't that bad a shape. They're not falling off, so I'm going to leave that. I would recommend, if you guys are doing this, maybe inspect everything before you're, make sure you go get some hardware. If this hardware was falling off and it was in bad shape, I'd probably go, well, not probably, I'd go get a new set at AutoZone or whatever parts store. Also guys, price your parts out, because locally I have a Napa, I have AutoZone, I have most of your big box stores, and I price them out online before I go into the store and see who's got the better deal. Sometimes AutoZone, sometimes it's Advance, but definitely check that out guys. Call around, get pricing. This stuff adds up quick. AutoZone happened to be having a deal going on where if you buy the a set of rotors and some brake pads with it, you get, I believe it was a 15% off discount. The way the world is right now, 15% is, well, anytime 15% is better than nothing. I always like to go back after I tighten them up with a ratchet. Just give it a little snug, make sure they're snug. Now, these were my old brake pads on here. Looks like that one was the front, that one was the back. You can see the back here has the little piece of metal there, that little tab that lets you know once they start squeaking, hey, your brake pads are getting low. These AutoZone ones have them as well. So we're just gonna stick these bad boys in here. Actually, I'm gonna have to break that one off like I did on the other side, because the back doesn't give you enough clearance on the top of your bracket. So let me stick this one in here. Anyways, I'll get this stuff on and I'll show you guys what it looks like once everything's put back on. Alright guys, just want to show you guys here. Got everything put together. Brake pads, rotors. Now, you can see those pistons are pretty much all the way set back in. So what I do here, I'm going to do this one-handed. I will stick a brake pad in here, one of the old brake pads, and just take my clamp and just clamp them down. Sometimes you'll have to get like that pry bar there, just stick it in that groove, give it a little help, but I got these pushed all the way in just with the clamp and doing that pry bar trick early on. So I'm going to button this up and do the oil change, but I'll show you guys what this looks like once I'm done. Alright, here it is. It's all finished. Don't forget to grease your outside of the brake pads and the contact surface where the pistons are going to meet on your brake pad. It left my mind. Your little sliders there. I said it previously in the video, so but that's it. Wheel's gonna go back on. These were actually takeoffs off of a I believe it was a 17 work truck Silverado that we got on a really good deal. So that's gonna go back on. And again guys, I'm not a professional, just a DIYer. I do things myself, save some money. And like I was saying, don't forget, if you're gonna do this job, I'm pretty sure this will be the same for the Silverados. Now some vehicles out there do use a Allen instead of the Torx. So make sure you check yours before you go out and buy them. I know most, part stores will sell a kit where it's like just specific for brakes. So they'll sell maybe like a T40 all the way through a T60 Torx and the Allens in a small set, so you don't have to buy all the Torx and all the Allens. You just get one that's specific for doing brakes. But here it is. Get that. Pick you up some pry bars if you don't have one, and again, the bolts on the bracket are 19mm. I'll put it all in the description. Hopefully you guys like the video. I'm going to be doing some more stuff, so hopefully you guys will come back, comment, subscribe, like. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.